Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This time doing a deep dive on the unique helmet Glimpse of Chaos. It's basically a mechanism to obtain some certain unique modifiers on unique helms, and although it's been power crept a little bit, it's still something you should absolutely be aware of when build crafting or min-maxing a character. So here's a Glimpse of Chaos. There are several things that make this unique interesting. The first is the line can be modified while corrupted. This means that we can corrupt twice, 3 times, and beyond as long as that line stays intact. Continuing on the topic of corruption, the helm has a bespoke set of special corruption outcomes. Per the PoE2 wiki, it can either remove one random explicit modifier, add a special vol enchantment to the item, brick the item into a unique helmet retaining any special enchantments with a limit of 2, or brick the item into a random rare retaining any special enchantments up to 2. Some of the special enchantments are quite strong and or hard to obtain in other ways. The values for meta skills gain energy, skill effect duration, and area of effect stood out to me as particularly impactful. Fate of the Vol added cultivation orbs, which can be used on Glimpse of Chaos as it is a Vol unique. As with the rest of the helmet, it can be difficult to obtain a desired outcome due to high roll ranges and the number of modifiers, but the ability to remove a harmful or unnecessary line for a substantially better affix is something to be aware of if you're playing the helmet. Speaking of actually playing the helmet, I believe it's worth some consideration even before any corruption outcomes. The roll ranges make Glimpse the only way I could find to get negative lightning resistance from the helm slot, which Doriani's prototype benefits from. Later on, I'll show an example POV with this setup, along with a couple of others. With this many variables already, you almost certainly aren't going to brick the helmet into a rare with reasonable modifiers, let alone good ones, so I'm considering that to be off the table. But what about uniques? I think there are a ton of interesting builds that use a unique in the helm slot, and many of them can likely benefit from the unique affixes that a Glimpse presents. So why isn't it more widely played? Well, for one, it's just hard to pull off. Even in a softcore trade environment, it can be expensive and time-consuming to chase after a desired role. Additionally, as of this patch, having a Raven-touched shard is important for the helm slot, and it's extremely expensive to use with Glimpse except for certain niche cases, since you have to apply it before bricking into a desired outcome. This creates tension between the special corruption implicits and whatever you can anoint. There are also other really good augments in the helm slot, and unless it naturally drops exceptional, Glimpse can't get a second augment slot. Same thing goes for overrolling. There's no way to get an overrolled value on the desired outcome helmet. So with all that in mind, the use case to me seems to be when you want to stack a ton of exactly 1 or 2 hard to acquire stats, and you already have everything that can be reasonably obtained on the tree, as well as being locked into a particular unique helm. So here we are in Path of Building. Like I said, I'd show a couple examples, and it turns out the best ones I have are actually from my previous build, which was the Lightning Slam Gemling. So what that is essentially a Doriani's prototype negative lightning resistance stacker, and I will first show you the version that I'm currently running, which is making use of Crown of Eyes. You'll see that Crown of Eyes has the aforementioned meta skills gain 28% increased energy on it, which is of course an outcome from a corruption on a Glimpse of Chaos, which was then bricked into this Crown of Eyes. There was only one of these on softcore trade. I picked it up for a couple of divines, and I'm really lucky I did so, because if it didn't exist, I don't think I would be able to do it myself. I've corrupted probably between 50 and 100 Glimpse of Chaoses this league, and haven't really come, close to getting anything that I would consider desirable, much less, this exact role. So I'm very happy to have this. As you can see on the character, we're basically just stacking a bunch of meta skills, gain increased energy, and I was previously double dipping with the Crown of Eyes for the increases and reductions to spell damage, also applying to attacks. Getting a bunch of spell damage on here, of course, and then also using rage stacking. I've dropped the rage stacking part, but of course this is still double dipping for the gems. Now the other setup I want to show you is the pure Glimpse of Chaos version that I talked about a little bit earlier, where I'm playing this with a negative lightning resistance roll. So this gets me down all the way to negative 199 light res, That's just a ludicrous amount of damage boost that we're getting. And the glimpse is also giving us some other, excuse me, some other beneficial stats. So getting a bunch of chaos res on there, of course, that's a cultivation outcome, a couple of useful corruption implicits, and then just rocking it as is. Of course, now this we could also socket a Raven Touch shard into, because it can be modified while corrupted, meaning I can still anoint it while corrupted. And because I'm not trying to brick it into anything, it's not, prohibitively expensive to go through like several hundred Raven Touched shards and then brick them trying to find the unique that I want. So this, I think, would actually be a very powerful way to play this. It just requires crafting a bunch of diamonds that use lightning damage as opposed to spell damage, because we're, dropping the Crown of Ice. So I just thought this was a little bit of an interesting thing to discuss. I think that a lot of people don't really talk about Glimpse of Chaos anymore because there's been so much power creep in the Helm slot, but it's definitely something to add to your toolbox and, be aware of. So thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed, subscribe and leave a comment, and I will see you guys next time.